everyone, my name is Clay and welcome to Terminally Nerdy. I know, another video. But I have another physical product to show off and those are what get videos, so here we go. Today I'm looking at Michtim by a gentleman by the name of Georg Mir. He sent this to me for the purposes of review. Comically, the actual PDF of this is pay what you want. So he was nice enough to actually order me the $30 hardcover book of this. And if you can't tell, it's Fluffy Adventures. So, as always, we're going to be looking at this. He also sent me cards, which are personality cards, wound cards, and I guess you'd call them calling cards, which are like classes almost. And we'll kind of show off all this stuff. The cards are not necessary to play the game. You can do just as easily with, pen, paper, like any other tabletop. So, these are nice to look at, but are not necessary. So basically this game is about being a cute nature spirit called a Michtim, or Michtim. I think it's Michtim. I think it's the K sound, because he's, I think, German, Austrian. He's like that European. And basically you play as a cute little furry hamster-like creature doing cute little furry hamster-like things, trying to basically stave off humanity and its destruction of nature and things of that nature. It's a surprisingly light game. So what we're going to do is always, I'm going to look at the book, I'm going to show you guys the inside of the book, I'll show you the cards, and then we'll kind of discuss how I feel about the game as a whole after that. So let's go ahead and get right on into the interior of this book. Hello everyone! Alright, so I'm just going to put some of these over here. So what we're looking at today, as I said, is Michtim. This is the cover. I love the artwork on this. I love the design of this. I can totally see the little noses twitching on these guys, although he looks kind of owlish, which weirds me out. So, it's not a super thick book, honestly. And as you can see, it's Georg Mir, right here. That's the creator. Ternaya needs you. The Queen of Ternaya hereby summons you, faithful adventurers of the noble houses. You shall take your finest cloaks and your most trusted staves to assemble in stalwart bands of heroes for the glory of our kingdom. It's cute. I love how this looks like a little burnt letter. It's got Cornelius. I can't even begin to... It's Funkle Fig, Keeper of Secrets and Master of Protocol, with a little seal from Grim Ogre Games. There's Grim Ogre. So this is Michtim. This is the book about being a cute hamster doing cute hamster things. I love the tabs here. You can clearly see them here. So you can kind of see... It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but you can see the colors so you can kind of jump. So, it's game designed by Georg Mir. The setting idea was by Alexander Ozlaj and Georg Mir. It's got words of wisdom, the mouse, and of course me. So, basically this breaks down to a couple things. You got your lexicon, which I like because some of these, like, it's Howls and Botch-Ichne, which I want to say is Boston name, or Bunde, which is band, which is the band of adventurers. He has, because he's not, the creator of this is not American, okay? I think he's like German, Austrian, correct me if I'm wrong, Georg, I'm not entirely certain, honestly. But, as you can clearly see, he has his native language using a lot of it, like Howl's Growling, Howl's Barsic, etc. Finsterberg. So he uses a lot of things. This book is very easy to read. I love the fonts, the layout. He has, different body types. It's laid out extremely well. The artwork in here is great. The heraldry is great. Everything about this little book is good. You have different, the basic rules, playing the game, rolling dice, how you hit hard. Everything is laid out in a very professional manner. Every class or calling in here, for example, these guys have artwork. And everything's just really well put together. This is probably, now this is, as far as I know, a print-on-demand from Drive-Thru-RPG. And this is the first time I've actually run into a hardback from them. I've got soft covers over here, but this is the first time I've run into a hardback premium, and it's really good quality. We have the ultimates, and then we have stuff like game design. So he actually has rules for creating new content in here, like ninjas You know, how you reskin, how you create new callings, which is really nice. So I'd love it if more indie games had sections for suggestions on how to homebrew, to give you examples on how to do it. That would be nice. So he does that. Thank you. And then we have things like creating your episodic missions and, you know, using locations and connecting scenes. He has a GM section, basically. And then he has an escort rescue mission back here, kind of going over how to do it, you know, including the zones and, you know, the cats and baddies and all that stuff. And then you have some important personality and plot lines back here. So basically you got your NPCs. That guy's funny, Ronaldo. I mean, look at him. He's got a freaking, like, gas gun. What the hell? So, I love this dude. Look at this. Look at this guy, or her. Can't tell because they're all fuzzy to me. That is ridiculous. And then, of course, you have your, you know, glossary and a couple of extra pages. I love the quality of this book. It is lovely. Fits great on my shelf. He also sent me cards. Now, these are not necessary. I'm not entirely certain if these are dry erase either. They don't feel like they would be. Just bad. But you got wound cards here. So you have your general wounds. And then you have specific kinds of wounds. Yeah, so he has elemental damage types in here and stuff. So you got binding and toxic and cursing. And it's got the rules for the wounds as well. So, like, if it's an impaling wound, all weep and received cure rolls suffer -3 penalty while you're affected with this. Meaning it's harder to heal a guy who's been impaled, and it's harder to roll into a fetal position. Yes, that is a mechanic, by the way. Weeping is rolling into a fetal position and hoping the enemy takes pity on you. I find that absolutely hilarious. You got smoke fog, which, that just looks like he's getting high. I'm sorry. Look at this! Wanna get high? Light glare, tar strike. The cards don't have a lot of different pictures, really. It's the same rough image with, like, effects on it. And then you have what they call the calling cards, which are your class cards. So you got Sorcerer, Witch, Tactician, Mechanist, Frostpaw, etc. And you got enough in here that you, like, because you can actually learn multiples, which I'll go over. But if you're an artist and a bard, you have both cards, and then you add adventurer in the mix, and these would be like your active classes, effectively. Again, the artwork on these is really good, and I enjoy it. Quality of the cards is pretty solid, too. Again, I think these are the print-on-demand options from Drive-Thru-RPG, so I'm really kind of impressed with them. Decent stock, decent quality. You know, kind of thick. I'm not good at that. But yeah, this is Michtim. So let's go ahead and take a moment to kind of go over some of the mechanics of the game, the way the game works roughly. It's basically a dice game. You have a dice pool of d6s. Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at the game. Alright, so that was the book. And how do I feel about it? So first and foremost, this is not going to be a game for everybody. I know he would like it to be. It's designed to be all-inclusive, not really push anyone out, and it serves that purpose. The problem here is that it is extremely rules-light. It is very narrative-driven. You know, you've only got 5 emotions rather than physical attributes, and things are very, very simplistic. You know, you make basic rolls using a couple of d6. It's not mechanically heavy. It's, in fact, very actually probably good for kids. I'm fine with that. I enjoy that. I enjoy fluffy mechanics. I don't want to go too far past something like this, or like Powered by the Apocalypse, or, I mean, Fate's a little too much for me, too light. But I'm not the guy who wants to go over towards Shadowrun, or towards Rift, or towards GURPS, which is extremely rules-heavy and simulationist and gamist. This will not interest those guys. This will also not interest people who are looking for gritty, grimdark, realistic. I mean, you're a cute, furry animal. You can almost see the noses twitch. I mean, look at this. You can almost see the noses twitch. It's not going to apply to people who want gritty, grim, grimdark, realistic stuff. It's just not going to fly. So it is clearly not for everybody. but for who it is and for what it is, it's actually really, really good. I like how we have emotions rather than attributes, if that makes sense. Like, it's easy to say, I have a high fear rating, so I'm cautious, and I'm constantly kind of spooked by everything. That tells you how to kind of roleplay. Like, if you're playing with little kids, and you tell them you have a really high strength score, it means you're really big and strong. Technically, you could have a really high strength score and be a little skinny man who just happens to be really packed with muscle. Physical and mental attributes are a little harder to roleplay sometimes than saying, you are really joyful. You have a lot of joy. That means you are constantly happy versus you have a lot of love. You're constantly caring. You have a lot of aggression. You are really into people's faces. So having emotions rather than attributes actually makes it really easy to get into role-playing characters. And because it has mechanics built in to raise and lower your emotional stats, I guess I'd call them your attributes, for lack of a better term, during play, you can easily go, well, he's kind of not scared anymore. He's less fearful. He's now a bit more aggressive because he saw his friends get hurt, or she saw her friends get hurt. You know, or she might become less aggressive, more caring because she decided to start taking care of the group and become like the party's mother kind of stuff. People who want a lot of lore, not going to find it in here. This is very, very light on actual setting material. It gives you 3 houses, which are basically political leanings. They're all very positive. You know, there's I think it was cultivation. What was it? It was cultivation, charity, and like conservationism. So basically, one was all about civilization and improving and building and improving and building. One is about keeping all nature naturey, and one is about giving to help people. Again, very positive-oriented stuff. There's nothing like evil in here. In fact, there's very little in here that you could even quantify as an evil character. You're not going to run into I'm chaotic neutral in this. It's just not going to work. Especially since once you join a house, if you do things against the house's ideals, you get penalized for it. So if you join the charity house and you ignore people who need help, you actually get penalized for doing that, because you're not participating in the virtue. Items are very, very basic and straightforward in here. So not a lot to really talk about them, to be honest. I mean, they give you, you know, magical armor, magical this, that, and the other thing. One thing I want to discuss specifically is advancement. So when you start, you pick a calling, which, like this card here, is the witch. And, you know, as I showed in the book, there's like witch, tactician, and that's kind of your class. But the way it works is you start with one calling fully maxed out. That is your class. You are good at it. As you earn experience points, you can unlock further. So you could start, we'll say, as the witch. And then later on, you can buy the first level of sorcerer. So now you're a witch and a sorcerer, and you get the effects of both classes. Like this one's got like focus, where they can extend their spells and things. And as you play, you can eventually theoretically learn and unlock every single calling and every single ability. But you can only ever have 3 active at a time. So if you're a sorcerer, a tactician, and a witch, actively, but you have every other calling enabled, how does that work? So at night, when you sleep, you can flip callings around. So it's like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm not going to be a sorcerer witch, I'm going to be, you know, a cook and a courtier. Now I'm going to switch out, basically, my skills for the day, which is actually quite flexible, and I like it, because that means players are never locked into something they don't enjoy. It's like, oh, well, you know, for this particular thing, it's very social, so we should all pick social calling. So let's all go courtier, let's all take cook, etc. You can kind of mix and match and manipulate the group after a while to kind of tackle any challenge. That does mean that it becomes much, much easier as you play to tackle any challenge. To counteract that, your stats actually never go up. The best you can do is modify up and down. So again, if you have a high fear rating, you can lower that and then raise something else in response, but they can never go above 4 and they can never go below 1. So that's kind of counteracting, because you only have so many dice to work with, and each calling uses specific dice and uses specific emotions, so you're always going to have to be balancing your callings to your attributes. It's a little more deep than you might think. Starting off, it's pretty simplistic, and as you go, you kind of get into these combos. You have ultimates, which are like special moves that you have to have karma points to use. There are advanced dual moves, where if you have two callings, you can combine them and get like a new thing. Like he uses, I think it was the cook and the machinist, which made me laugh. Like the cook, you can build like a cook stand, you can sell people food. The machinist builds companions, mechanical companions, so if you take cook and machinist, theoretically, you can make a moving store, so in combat you're like sitting there in like a little store going, would you like some noodles? And you like feed people noodles. It's very silly. Straight up overall, I think this is a great system. I think people need to look into it if they're interested in this sort of thing. If they're interested in playing cute, fluffy animals, doing cute, fluffy animal things. And there's really no reason not to, because again, the PDF is pay what you want. You can go to DriveThruRPG, a link will be in the description box, and you can just get the PDF. Now obviously, if you like it, give the man some money so he can make more stuff. If you really like it, because the artwork is really good, it's $30 for one of these, the hardcovers. And you can get the PDF with the hardcover. So there's no risk in at least looking into it. The cards are nice. They're handy for physical play. Like, I never use these. Everything I play, again, is always online. So I'm never going to use the cards. They're nice to look at. You have the personality types on here, like the Protector and stuff, which kind of gives you very straightforward stats. Like, if you just take the Protector, here are your stats. You know, your joy, your love, your grief, your fear, and your anger. But you can just as easily ignore these and just make your own stats, for your particular character, which is nice. So, thank you again, Georg. Again, it's Michtim. I think if you're interested in this, you should definitely give it a look. It is very narrative-driven. It looks like it's a lot of fun, to be honest. I'm not sure how well it would work online because of all the mood markers. Like, you use a lot of tokens in this game to represent like how much mood and how much of this different thing that you have, so that might get a little complicated. I think this would actually work better in person than online, but I know people have played this online, so what do I know? So, thank you guys so very much for watching this video. If you like what I'm doing, hit that like button. If you don't like what I'm doing, feel free to hit the dislike button. Leave a comment letting me know that you watched the video. Tell me if you've tried this or if you're even interested in something where you get to play cute, fluffy animals. Because I like cute fluffies. Straight up, I like hamsters and ratties and guinea pigs, and they're awesome. Don't you be judged. Alright, and of course you can visit my website, terminallynerdy.com, for more articles, these videos, and all that jazz. Feel free to visit me on Patreon if you want to throw me a buck. I don't really care. And as always, folks, thanks for watching, and remember, stay nerdy!